city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
Welcome to the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Oh. I don't even know how to set us up today. Look at this.
Right?
Hello, Avalanche
Just
fans.
Two of us.
I know, just two of us right now. We are here to react live to the pressing Avalanche news. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to edit this layout real quick so that you and I don't look so funny on it. But Brennan, right off the top, man.
Well,
I mean,
that's going to be hard to do with my face, man. Come on.
Yeah, me too, buddy. We're gonna be in this one together. But you know, I was just getting ready to finish up my breakfast, thinking about maybe polishing off some more Thanksgiving leftovers for lunch later on, and then I saw this news pop up on my Twitter and then also in the chat with you, and it's Justus Annunen and a 6th round pick from 2025 for Scott Wedgewood of the Nashville Predators, formerly of the Dallas Stars last season. Right off the rip, Brandon, what are your thoughts?
I like it.
I do too.
And I don't agree fully with the I think it should have been 1-for-1.
Yeah.
But trying to find my mouse.
You're saying like the pick was maybe a little bit too much.
Just so quick, but
yeah. You know,
but Wedgewood plays well when he has a good team in front of him.
Right.
So all these people are like, "Oh, he's got bad numbers, blah 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 blah," and it's like, well, you know what? Okay, look at how well he played when he was in Dallas.
I was gonna say,
but Arizona, he played really bad because Arizona's bad. There's a reason why they're in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And in Nashville, he's not doing well because Nashville's not doing well in general.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, I mean, he has 5 games played this season for the Predators, 4 starts, 1 victory, and 2 losses, in which he's posted a 3.69 GAA and an 8.78 save percentage. That's this season. But if you look at last season when he played for the Dallas Stars, where he got 28 starts, he did win 16 of those games, which is more than half. He posted a sub-3 goals against and a nearly 900 save percentage. So, and it looks like Jackie's joining us. Jackie, how's it going?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. So, Jackie, you said in the chat the other shoe has dropped, and we've been talking for months and months and months about a goalie acquisition. Is this the one you were looking for?
I mean, of course, it's not like the long-term solution, but it does make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like this could even be their goalie move of the year. I don't see them dumping Georgiev, but wait, that's another bridge to cross.
Right.
But yes, I don't want to say I told you so, but I know I really pounded the whole. They don't believe in Annunen. They
Yeah, you did.
weren't committed to him. I just didn't believe it. The way that they pulled him the last 2 out of 3 starts was just such a quick hook. They had to do something, and to me, they found a backup they're comfortable with. I think that's all it is. We know Wedgewood's just a backup. It's funny, he's another Dallas Dallas depth piece that they brought in. One other point I do want to bring, I don't know exactly what you all have said, but I noticed that Wedgewood has a 1.5 million cap hit, and Annunen was close to league minimum, I believe, 800 or something. So, so this is adding 660 to the cap, which I don't want to say it, but sort of signals to me they're kind of decided to use some of that Landy money for the year, because
they sent Chase down last night.
Yeah,
and I doubt they're going to call him back up.
Probably not, but they're going to need another forward because they don't have any extras now. Like Ludwig will go in for Manson. I assume Manson's not playing tonight. I think
more than likely no.
Let's just assume all the injured guys aren't going to have a miracle and play tonight. So they're going to need Ludwig for Manson, but they're going to need a forward to replace Bradley. So I think we'll see who they call up. But
Anala.
I think so. I think it's time for him or for Phillips. Like, they've earned it.
Phillips has definitely earned it. He's top of the team right now. And my gosh, he was playing like he had a fire lit up under his butt last night. So, yeah.
So
that's intriguing that, that's kind of what we're deducing too from this. It's like, it's not just a goalie trade. It's also the Avalanche dipping into the reserve funds, so to speak, that you get from Landy being on IR. And now we're starting to see some writing on the wall in terms of that. But I do want to talk a little bit about let's see, we got a comment actually. Let's get to that. Scott Wilson says, surprising move to wake up to. Is Wedgewood actually playing tonight back to back at Annunen for Nashville?
No.
Aha, that would be crazy. No, we'll get
I don't know. It depends how fast he can get here. He didn't play, so
where is Nashville?
They were in Minnesota. I looked that up.
So that's a 3-hour flight at most.
Yeah, I think he could.
It's possible. Would he want to? It's another.
And that's also if the trade technically, like if he was told last night, he could have been on a flight technically last night, and they're just decided to announce it this morning because the Eagles knew about this.
Interesting.
Barcheski was pulled back up because I tweeted out it was like a couple days ago, 26th, that Barcheski was sent down. So the Utah Grizzlies ECHL goalie was sent down after not playing at all, which was not surprising because his AHL stats are wretched. But
I didn't see it on the transactions, so AHL transactions.
So go if you just minimize it just to Colorado Eagles, you'll see that he was sent down and then pulled back up the next day. So, and that's what I was told. And so I went in and I talked to Kevin McGlue, the PR and radio guy for the Eagles when I was there last night getting the health updates and all that fun stuff. He's like, Barcheski's a healthy scratch. I'm like, wait, what? He's not with you guys.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, no, he was pulled back up a couple yesterday or 2 days ago. And I was like,
well,
and I just the
wheels were turning.
Yeah, it was like, okay, something's going on here, but I didn't want to say anything because
Well, let's think about this move. A lot of people are saying it's a lateral move at a higher cost. What are your initial reactions to that
I would say
commentary?
no, because he's a proven backup. Like, that's what they're looking for.
Right.
I know that there's going to be varied opinions because I know a large section of the fan base thought Annunen possibly could take over the starters net or
Right.
be the starter next year. You all know I absolutely was not in that camp.
Mm-mm.
So
Or-
I guess if you're thinking of it from that perspective, it's like, why? You have this young guy, you've been developing him. Why are you giving up on him? But to me, like I said, that what they're looking for is a proven NHL backup, and this is what they got. I do think the timing suggests, because we all figured Annunen probably had to start tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We did think they could run through Georgiev, but I think he did okay yesterday, but he didn't quite have the hero's run that he probably need
Yeah.
to get them to put him back in the net tonight. So I almost think the timing of this, and if they really did pull the trigger last night, which probably I doubt they finalized a trade at 7 a.m. Maybe that's the plan. They wanted to get Wedgewood here and put him in the net tonight.
That would be so fun. I would be
Well-
cool with that.
Another option could be Manalise gets called.
That would be less fun.
I
Well-
think they would do anything to
But
possible to avoid that.
yeah, but my point is Manalise didn't play last night. He's fresh, and all he's got to do is drive 60 miles down the road. So, if worst case scenario, they can call Manalise up, he'll drive down, and then he'll either ride the bench or start depending. But and how many shots did Georgiev get last night? I didn't. I was busy doing the Eagles last night, so
It was low. It was a low event game, I guess you could say.
I
Well,
wouldn't necessarily say it was his best performance, but I wouldn't, add it to his diatribe of stinkers this season. I would say it was
I
just
agree
kind
with
of like
that, yeah.
meh. There's like
Like
a
I said,
normal-
I don't know if it was good enough for them to be like, oh my God, he's so hot, we got to keep him in the net. But I mean, it wasn't like, oh, we can't start this guy either. So
yeah, the numbers aren't good. I mean, 6.688 save percentage is not good. So, but I will say, that's what I wrote in the newser for this announcement was like, if you were hoping for the Avs to trade for a goalie that would challenge Georgiev for the top spot, like that's not what this is.
agreed, totally.
And if you're still wanting that sort of thing, I don't think this bodes well for that to happen, because I think you're right, Jackie. I think this does settle the room, at least this season, because as we've talked about at length, is that like this is a problem that has been prevalent for a minute, and the Avs have had lots of time to address it. Now it feels like they were kind of backed into a corner. They've made this move to maybe, I don't know, scooch one butt cheek out of the corner, I guess. But but it's not a problem that's going to be fixed with one transaction. And I think that's where people are naive. This is a room issue. This is a development issue. And I think that the Avs probably did a good thing to bring in a veteran presence, because that really is, I mean, just when you look at this graphic of the trade, you can even just tell that, to me, there's a little bit more of a poise to and more of a confidence to a veteran netminder. My initial reaction was, well, they have a true backup. And it's unfortunate because as anybody who listens to the show knows, like I was pounding on the table before the season started, let's get Annunen in the net. Let's see what Annunen's got. But I think we know what Annunen kind of is now, which is someone who's not far enough along to be on a team who's having the problems that the Avalanche are having. What that says about his future, I'm not sure. I think it's interesting that he goes to a franchise like Nashville, who's pretty well renowned for finding good goaltenders. So, I mean, if the Predators are good with Annunen coming in return, I mean, I think that's interesting. I will say, though, they got, was it Askarov and Yossi, so it's like their room is settled. He's probably going to go play in the
they
AHL.
traded Askarov too.
Yeah, well, they drafted him though. Is his point?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But Askarov was drafted, and then of course knew that Saros was going to be the starter. So
I think the Avs did well here to get something for Annunen, because I would have kind of doubted that.
Yeah.
Especially lately. I know that they haven't given him the easiest run. Like, he was starting to look comfortable, and then you don't play, but that's the life of a backup as well. But they got something for him. They didn't have to move out any real asset to fix the goalie problem. I mean, this is something they've done in the past where they've moved or not seconds, but like thirds and fourths, or high profile prospects they're done with. I mean, this could have been an Alausen trade. It could have been. So I'm glad that they found something that is relatively low cost. I know that there's going to be different opinions on giving up Annunen hurts more or less, depending on your view there. But I agree with you. This is probably it. Even they're probably still looking on an upgrade to Georgiev, but that's a much bigger deal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and much more difficult.
That's a bridge you almost have to cross in the offseason.
I think so too, because if you look at Georgiev, Kemper, and Grubauer, they were all acquired right around the draft.
Yep.
So that seems to be when that window opens for that type of deal.
And that's going to be a break even, if not an increase in payroll. So
yeah,
well,
that too.
We got another question from Kelly. And folks, thank you so much for sending in your questions and for tuning in. I know we got you on an impromptu basis, so it's pretty cool that we got about 400 of you live right now. It says, does our goalie department / coaches suck? ? Will Annunen develop better in Nashville? I don't think he's an NHL goalie. I mean, I would say that the Avs are among the teams to have a goalie coach, and not a lot do. So I would say that if there's a franchise, and Brandon, yeah, you're going to take this one. If there's a franchise that cares about the goalies in comparison to others, I'd put the Avalanche on that list. I don't think they suck, but Brandon, go ahead.
So Budaj left. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice that the turn in Annunen's performance is when Budaj left.
I guess the timing does kind of correlate to a point. Yeah.
And or when Annunen went up to the NHL full time. So I've heard some stuff about Parkala, but we'll just keep it at that. So
Parkala, UC Parkala, he is the current Avs goalie coach, correct?
I do feel like he has a decent track record of getting more out of goalies at the NHL level than, their price tag. They've had a pretty good run of polishing up some of these diamonds in the rough, I guess. I mean, none of them have been long-term solutions, but also because some of them got big extensions. So I don't know that their strategy really is terrible in this part, but if we're talking about developing, I think that's more than just like a goalie focus. I think it's an organization focus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously they gave Annunen a little run here, but you would have liked to have seen a much bigger work up to that. You just don't like all of a sudden when a guy's like 5th-year pro, hey, we're going to use you in the NHL now. I just don't think that's really a proper path. That was also part of me thinking, like, do they really believe in this guy? Because it's just kind of all that they're left with at this point. But so I don't know. I don't know if I would pin this on a coaching or developing issue. It's like a cheap issue.
I was going to say it's a player personnel. To me, it's a player personnel thing. And I don't want to beat up on McFarland because, I mean, he did a great job with Sakic throughout the years. But I will say that I didn't want to feel this way, but I'm starting to feel kind of like he's a little bit too into his own method in terms of, I feel like the Avs like to hire and acquire based on fitting the system that they have in place. And like you've seen that with the goalies that they've tried to bring in, and everyone says, oh yeah, he'll be great with Perkala. But it's like, we don't need a goalie who's going to be great with a goalie coach. We need a goalie who's going to be consistent right now. And I think this is a step in the right direction in terms of that. But I think they sat on their hands for a long time because they thought they were going to find value and were going to be smarter than everybody in the room and get a backup out of Annunen, when it just didn't really feel like Annunen was going to be a backup this season much as guys like me wanted him to be.
Yeah, I just never felt like they invested. If that's what they really were thinking they were getting, I don't think they invested enough. Right. As far as Parkila, I think he has a bigger voice. I think they listen to him more in drafting, and
Right.
and we'll see. Like if he had a hand in Nabokov, and that's a big win. So
Well, I
I don't.
think Francois had a hand in that one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sure, he's part of the group, but I think Parkila, like I think he's the one that liked Kakinen. Now we could debate, is that a disaster? Does that mark fall on him? But back to the McFarland comment, I mean, we understand that the job is much more difficult with less resources. I mean, you're trying to hold on to greatness, and that's very difficult. But I don't like the whole automatic, the Avs front office never loses. I mean, I think that's
Agreed.
ridiculous. I think there's a lot of moves that are should be a fair debate at this point. And also understanding, like I said, the job is much more difficult, but this team isn't what it was. And some of that's in their control and some of that's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that it's starting to become a fair question at this point.
Oh, and you got to keep in mind that when we acquired Georgia, he had a very Henrik Lundqvist style of play, and he's had to adjust away from that. And what I mean by that is that it was pads down, kick out, and that's not the way the Avs play.
Yeah.
And he had to spend his whole first year in readjusting his style of playing, which he had learned 3 years before that.
I think overall the Georgiev has been a success. Now I know that might be a debate at this point or a hot take, but you can't just take recency bias. You got to look at the whole thing, and I think he's been good. So like you said, if they really needed to adjust his style and the way he plays and that he played so much. I mean, he never played that much in New York, and they rode him like crazy. So I still wouldn't call that a failure. I think they got a lot out of Georgiev, considering what they paid to get him, which was two thirds and a fifth or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what they've paid him, the $3 million. But the thing is, it's short-lived, and then you got to start again with somebody else.
Yeah, that's my whole that is my beef right now with the GM status is I feel like it's just Band-Aid after Band-Aid after Band-Aid. And it's always like shrouded in the idea of like, oh no, we know this guy's better than anybody else does. And when you see what we see, you're going to find that value and we're going to be fine. And then that doesn't happen. And then they react. Like, here's an example. How long did it take us to get Casey Middlestat? Before, we had the Eller experiment. We had
I think we could
Johansson
do a whole show
experiment.
on the,
Don't get me going on those two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that's
I know,
what I'm saying. Like Yakov Trenin, Brandon Duhaime, like these are Sean Walker. These are all patch pieces that have just been kind of thrown in at this roster.
Well, yeah, those were depth guys. But you're right. Like, how long did they wait to address 2C? Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
that is part of it. I mean, it goes back to what I said. If they could develop, like when you signed JT Compher to that extension, you knew that you weren't going to sign him after that.
No, right.
You had that much time to think about what are we going to do when we can't pay Compher anymore.
The best acquisition I think that the Avs have had is in a while is the Ross Colton deal back in June of 2023. But since then,
even that, we're looking at Colton, the guy that scored 8 goals on the top line, as in like that's a great deal. But when he's on the third line and he's not doing a whole lot, and then you look at what are they paying him, $4.5 million? It's like,
yeah.
I mean, so no, I still wouldn't say it was terrible. They did just get him for a second-round pick. Like the deal itself was worthwhile, but even that is, I don't know. I think you could sway a little bit on that. Like the best deal that they've made.
And
that's
like the
tough.
recent history. I mean, I think the Middlestat deal is pretty good, but it still kind of remains to be seen. He's in the throes of a struggle right now. So it's kind of like
you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't got to get you going, but I think
I know.
My point being is I want this management squad to be more aggressive in terms of solving their issues and not being so I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like sometimes it's like they think they're the smartest guys in the room, and a lot of rooms they are the smartest guys in the room. Don't get me wrong.
Well, this
But
is
it's
why I
just like
kind
the
of
method doesn't quite work the same
hinged
over and over again.
their entire window. Well, first of all, they got to get Miko signed. Like, there's no window if Miko
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well, yeah, and with the amount he's asking, from rumors saying, Dater and what is LeBron, there's multiple sources saying that he's asking 14. So,
but if
But
you do
I feel like
14
that-
for 7, and then you do the 12,
Right,
25 for
which-
8, it's the same total.
That's
So
which is exactly how Nuke arrived at his 6.1. If you take what he's going to get 7 by 7 or 7 by 8 for somewhere else there, or 7 by 7, I think was from Detroit. Then you divide it by 8. That's how you get it where he got. So that totally follows logically. You have to think about LeBron is the only one that the Avs front office talks to. So I think when he says something, you have to
it is
consider it a
negotiating.
little bit more. But I think that rumor comes then from the Avs. Why was LeBron saying it? Like he had a big thing in the Athletic about why the Avs aren't trading for John Gibson. Was the first piece from that conversation. The second piece was the whole Landeskog isn't doing hockey stuff. And then the third piece here was the whole Rantanen thinks he can get $14 million. So you got to think that's coming from the Avs side.
Yeah.
but so we got it. I want to go back a few comments. So the Band-Aid part.
Yep.
So we got Nabokov in the wings. There's two situations with Nabokov. He's more than likely going to come next year. There is going to be an adjustment period because he's been playing on world ice.
He's not a proven NHL goalie though either.
Huh?
I don't think he's a proven NHL goalie either. Though,
Oh,
right?
He's going to be good.
I mean,
if you watch the film, he's going to be good.
I hope you're right. I'm just saying at baseline right now, we're not sure.
He's won the Gagarin Cup.
I mean, it's the KHL. I'm not saying AHL, KHL, NHL.
You get my point, but there's gonna be an adjustment period just like Francouz, but there's also rumors that I had saw during the summer that he was gonna sign like a 2 or 3 year contract with his current team. So there's the Avs need to think both situations. So they're either going to put a Band-Aid in and then of course have Nabokov come over, and then they still got to think about the backup, which I think.
Well, Wedgewood signed for next year, so I think you know where that lies.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if his current contract, if it's extended.
The only way I will come on here and eat crow live is if the Avs are able to somehow make Nabokov the starter, because I don't want Wedgewood to start in 24-25.
Oh,
no, I don't think that's the idea either. Like they're gonna figure something out. They're gonna do one of their typical like RFA things. I'd be surprised if they were ready to go with Nabokov next year without like a year in the AHL. But if they get desperate enough, it's possible. But he is their chance at getting something longer than a 2 or 3 year kind of interim what they've been doing, which would be nice. But a lot of things still have to go right for.
He has to come to North America.
I'm not too worried about that. I mean, the rumors are like from Russians that he only signed a 1 year, or he only had 1 year left. I don't know. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't come over next year. But I would also be surprised if they brought him over and he's just the starter. I do think they probably want a year in the AHL. So that might be another just year Band-Aid to see who can start next year in tandem with Wedgewood. And then they're going to go with Nabokov. I kind of like it because at least it's a little bit of a gamble, not a gamble, but an investment. I think that's what I'm looking for.
And then you also got to think damaged goods, because how many injuries did Frankie have before he came over?
I don't think he had a lot. I don't remember his exact starting, but
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like in general, he had, a whole career before he had played with the Avs and stuff like that. But that's just me
Well,
thinking out loud. So
the big news here is honestly that at a minimum, the Avalanche are doing something about the goaltending situation when we've been clamoring. I think fans,
Yes.
pundits alike. I mean, national pundits have been clamoring for the Avalanche.
Well,
to do
I mean,
something.
they weren't looking at Annunen going.
Yeah.
Everyone was waiting for Georgiev to go or his replacement to come in. But I will say this was more in line with what I was thinking.
Yeah.
If the big deal's out there and it comes together, I think they would pull the trigger. But that is just so difficult to pull off, especially in season.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do think it's good business, Jackie. I think, like I said earlier, I feel how I feel about them being set in their ways a little bit, but I think that this move is a move in the right direction in terms of that, because you're right. I, for one, didn't even think that there would be a team who would take Justus Annunen.
Right, like I said, it's good they found value there. It's good that they didn't have to trade.
That's probably
a better
where the pick,
asset.
It's probably where the pick comes in, but
that be upset because they saw a lot in Annunen, and I get that. Like, if you're one of those people, then you do feel like this is terrible. Like, why did they do this? But I'm just telling you, they didn't see it. If you all saw it and you think that they're throwing potential away, I'm not going to disagree with that. I'm always here sticking up for the prospects, but the Avs did not see it.
Yeah.
Well, and I just thought this is funny. Nashville now has two goalies nicknamed Juice.
That's right. UC and Juice. Yeah.
Well, okay. I need to go. I'm gonna leave on that. I think that's a very good point.
Yeah, I think
they're gonna have to fight over that one.
The Juicy Juice. That's right.
Yeah. But,
well, I think we'll all call it a day today, because I just
Okay.
wanted to jump in real quick and just gauge your guys' reaction, especially both of you. Honestly, were the two people I was most interested of our panel in seeing how you react, because I know you both have a vested interest in Annunen and kind of how that experiment was going to go. So thank you to the two of you, Brennan and Jackie K. Brennan both, for joining me, folks. Thank you all very much for tuning in, just even for this brief little 32-minute episode. We just wanted to touch base with you all, see how everyone felt.
And thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we will
Absolutely.
definitely talk about this more on our regular show.
Exactly. Yeah, we will beat this horse
again.
I won't use any more bad verbiage for you, Brandon. Is that fair?
No more family show.
No more terminology from Adrian. Well, folks, thank you for tuning in. If you didn't hear it, you heard it here now. We got Justus Annunen and a 6th-round pick in 2025 for Scott Wedgewood from the Nashville Predators. The Avalanche have a new man between the pipes on a backup basis. So on behalf of Brennan and Jackie, I am Adrian Hernandez. This has been a trade reaction via the Mile High Hockey Lab. You folks have a wonderful day. And hey, guess what? The Avalanche play this evening. We got ourselves a back-to-back. Maybe we'll get a little action from the new goalie. But you know what? I'll just leave you with this. Go Avalanche.
Thank you for tuning into the Mile High Hockey Lab.